Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was fucking awesome.
Three, two, one.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is pretty much everything that I kind of almost wanted. Well, everything I wanted in the first movie. Now, just in case you didn't see my review of the first movie, I love the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It was great. My only problem, well, I had a few other problems, but my big major problem is that the movie is called Sonic the Hedgehog. So, you know, I wanted the movie to be about Sonic. The previous movie could have just been about Sonic on an adventure on his own to go collect his rings, but along the way, of course, he's stopped by Dr. Robotnik or Eggman or whichever you prefer. So the first movie, it could have just been told by itself with Sonic on his own adventure, going after his rings while trying to, you know, pursue Dr. Eggman and try to get to his rings. It didn't really need James Marsden's character, and by the way, I'm gonna call him James Marsden just to make my mind a little bit easier to remember, but it didn't need James Marsden's character. It just needed Sonic. After all, the movie is called Sonic the Hedgehog. It's not called Sonic the Hedgehog and his friend, or Sonic the Hedgehog and his best buddy or cop buddy. When I first heard the concept that Sonic was going to be friends with a cop, I didn't like that idea. I'm like, because Sonic is a guy who can literally who can actually be his own character, and he doesn't have to bounce off other characters. Sonic can be entertaining on his own. He doesn't have the piggyback ride on other characters. So since the movie was called Sonic the Hedgehog, it just could have been about Sonic. But overall though, I still like James Marsden's character. I still like the bond between him and Sonic. You can feel the relationship between the characters. So whatever, I can let the first one slide. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I was hoping that this would be more about Sonic and Tails on their adventure to go whatever they were looking for, because the trailers didn't specify as much. But now that we know that it was the Master Emerald, I was hoping that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 would be about Sonic and Tails on their adventure to go get the Master Emerald. But along the way, they get stopped by Eggman and of course newcomer Knuckles. And I said I want this adventure to be more about them and less on the humans. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 delivers that a little bit. Now, compared to the first movie, we don't see too much of the human characters, which is fine, but that's not to say that they're not in the movie. They have their own little subplot, and Sonic and Tails, there's even one moment in the movie where we focus on the humans a bit too much, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, a Sonic and Tails adventure going up against Eggman and Knuckles, I do guarantee you, we do get that. We do get a Sonic and Tails adventure, them going up against Dr. Eggman and Knuckles. So we do get that. We do get it. But my only problem is that I don't think we even get enough of it though, you know what I mean? But basically, let me just give you a quick synopsis of the story, because I'm not going to be on the story too long. The story is really good. I was really nervous because I thought, because you know when it comes to sequels, even when it comes to second sequels, sometimes, you know, they will shove like 20 or 30 different subplots and all that shit. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 kind of worried me, because I'm like, okay, it's a sequel, so I don't know how much information or how much, you know, stories they're going to try to squeeze in. But no, it's a real good, simple story, and I'm glad they didn't try to put in like 20 different storylines going on. So that's good. But overall, I did love the story. I'm gonna go over the story real fast. I'm gonna talk about the story, the things that I like, the things that I didn't like, and yes, there is even a spoiler section. Yes, I do want to talk about spoilers in this movie. As a Sonic fanboy, I have to talk about the spoilers, especially the end credits. I have to talk about the spoilers. So I will say there is going to be a story synopsis, my likes, my dislikes, my recommendations, and then we'll get the spoiler territory. Don't worry, I will tell you when we get to the spoilers. But for now, let's talk about the story and see what it's all about, and tell you why I really like the story. Sonic the Hedgehog 2's movie plot is actually that simple. Again, it's not complicated. It's really simple for both kids and adults to understand. Basically, in this movie, now that Sonic is now a hero, he's now going around like Batman or Superman, being a superhero and whatnot. And he calls himself the Blue Justice. That's been going along in the trailers. So basically, it's just Sonic being a superhero now. And James Marsden's character is basically just telling Sonic that he has to learn to take responsibility. He's doing a good job saving everyone, and he's good at that. But at the end of the day, he's always having collateral damages. He's always damaging the city in one way. So it's like he's saving people, but at the same time, he is damaging the city at the same time. So James Marsden is telling him that Sonic just needs to be, a bit more responsible. That's it. Then along the way, James Marsden and his wife, which I forgot his wife's name, they actually go out of town because James Marsden's wife, sister, the sister Rachel, I remember her name because her name was said so many times in the movie. But Rachel, the character who was in the first movie, the annoying character, apparently she's getting married. So James, which is good because it gives James Marsden, his wife, to get out of the movie. So they go all the way to Hawaii while Sonic keeps the house to himself. So of course I'm like, wow, so this is definitely going to be more of a Sonic movie. And then of course out of nowhere, Eggman comes out of nowhere and he finds his way back. And then of course along the way he has Knuckles alongside him. Sonic realizes that he's in big trouble because Knuckles is a lot stronger than he is. And then we have Tails, who suddenly comes up and he says to help Sonic because he knows Sonic needs help. So at the end of the day, Sonic finds out that the map that he has by his mother, Night Owl, I think that was her name, I don't know, but the owl who gave Sonic that map, it turns out there's more to it, and this is when they discover about the Master Emerald. And it turns out whoever has the Master Emerald will have all power and unstoppable powers, and that's what Knuckles wants. So of course Sonic and Tails go on an adventure and they have to hurry and get the Master Emerald before Knuckles and Eggman gets it. And then when Eggman finds out about the Master Emerald, of course him being the Master Evil man that he is, he wants the Master Emerald for himself. So of course he uses Knuckles so they can go to the Master Emerald Shrine, which I gotta admit, I got a real major Sonic Adventure vibes. So when they go to the Master Emerald Shrine, Knuckles and Eggman make it there before Sonic does. And when Eggman gets there, Eggman double crosses Knuckles. You see, Knuckles wants to protect the Master Emerald. He doesn't want the powers. He just wants to protect it. Eggman, he does want the power. Knuckles wanted it because he thought Sonic was gonna use it for evil, and Sonic was trying to get it from Knuckles because Sonic thought Knuckles was gonna use it for evil. But no, it turns out that Eggman wants it. So of course he betrays Knuckles. Eggman laughs it off. He takes the Master Emerald, and Eggman, when he absorbs the Master Emerald, he has like god-like powers. Like whatever he does, teleport. He can do telekinesis and all that. He's pretty much basically God. So he absorbs the Master Emerald. He betrays Knuckles. Knuckles finds out that Eggman's really the bad guy. He teams up with Sonic and Tails. Sonic and Tails and Knuckles have their fucking awesome team up, which reminded me of Sonic Heroes. I'm not gonna lie. They have their own team up, go against the Death Egg, and at the end of the day, we all know they defeat Eggman and they all live happily ever after. That's basically the quick synopsis of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It can be simply summed up as that, and I gotta say, this was a fun movie. I actually really enjoyed this one. It was really more of a Sonic and Tails Knuckles movie. It's funny that it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but it's trying to be Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and a little bit of Sonic Heroes. It's really funny that it's Sonic 2, and you think it's all about Tails, but no, it's more about Sonic and Tails in the beginning, and then towards the end, it's more about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. So it's like they were squeezing in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and then they wanted to squeeze in Sonic 3, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So, yeah, it just, and then when the whole battle with the Death Egg starts, it starts kind of turning into Sonic Heroes. So it's like this movie's trying to be a lot of things, but overall, I thought the story was great. It was really good, but the story does have a little problems. I know I said I was going to talk about positives and negatives, but I do want to talk about a few of the negatives that I didn't like in the story. I think they just needed just a little improving on. So one of the things that I didn't like in the story, first and foremost, is actually Tails' introduction. Now, don't get me wrong, Tails, first of all, let me just say Tails was great in this movie. It's great that they still get his video game voice actor, and she's great, and I'm sorry I don't remember her name, but she is a real talented voice actor, and she does a real good job, especially when it comes to her anime roles. I think her most popular role to me is her voice as Ino, because, well, when I was young, that was actually the first time I heard her voice. So yeah, she's the voice of Ino in Naruto, and she's also the voice of Konohamaru, so it's great to hear her voice on the big screen, and I'm really glad that they got her to be the voice of Tails in the on the big screen. So I'm glad they got her. I'm so glad she came on board. They didn't replace her or anything. So when Tails spoke, I was like, yeah, I'm hearing Tails' voice actor. Kate Higgins also did a great job as Tails too. When it comes to the Tails voice actor, I think Kate Higgins is my most popular one. But the new voice of Tails, I love her too. She's great, and I'm glad they didn't reprise her with somebody. I'm glad she reprised her role. I'm glad no one replaced her. So overall, Tails' character was good. Tails' character is the same way as he is in the video games, comics, Sonic X, and any other the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and all that. Tails' character is who you expect. He's a loving character who just wants to be with Sonic and be his best friend. And pretty much you get that cool dynamic between Sonic and Tails. Now, I don't know if I said this earlier. I can't recall. Sorry if I can't recall. But the adventure between Sonic and James Marsden's character from the first movie, it was a lot. Sonic and Tails, while they do have their adventures, it doesn't even compare to the first movie. Sonic and Tails teaming up, it's in this movie. We do get an adventure with Sonic and Tails. But compared to the first movie, Sonic and James Marsden's character, they had more of a connection and even more screen time together. Sonic and Tails, not so much. It's in the movie, but it doesn't last as much. I felt like it could have lasted a bit longer. If they didn't waste their time on filler scenes, and B, if this movie didn't focus too much, not too much, but at least if they didn't have time to keep going back to the human characters and Rachel's wedding and all that, I feel like we would have seen more of Sonic and Tails' adventure. I wanted more. It's in there, but goddammit, it's not enough of it. So that's one of my minor little problems right there. Sonic and Tails' adventure is here, but it's not enough. But let's talk about Tails' introduction. That's another thing I didn't like. It was his introduction. You see, in the movie, when Sonic and Tails first encounter for the first time, he's having trouble against Eggman and Knuckles. He's still at James Marsden's house all alone or by himself because, you know, he's at the wedding and everything. So Eggman and Knuckles then crash and they come in to attack him, and Knuckles is about to kill him. Then Tails comes out of nowhere and he hotwired a police car, and he comes in and he saves Sonic. Now, if you saw the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 trailer, you should know that when Sonic and Tails apparently meet for the first time, clearly in that first trailer, Tails is flying the X-Tornado, or he's driving a plane that's similar to the X-Tornado, and he introduces himself, and he says, the name's Tails, and you know, Sonic goes, okay. So in that trailer, I'm like, okay, so that's where they met for the first time, and it was great, because Tails was also driving the X-Tornado. But it turns out in the movie, it plays entirely different. In the movie, Tails is hotwiring, like I said, a police car, and then he saves Sonic, and then, just like in the trailer, then he introduces himself as Tails. Now, you'll be saying, what's the problem? Okay, I have two problems with Tails' introduction. First and foremost, Tails should have been introduced meeting Sonic in the X-Tornado. I'm sorry, but I felt like that would have been the perfect way to introduce him. You see, when Tails arrives in the human world, he found Sonic's location, but since Tails isn't fast enough, he needed some kind of vehicle to get there, which I can understand. He looks at a police car and he says, that's what he'll steal. Now, I kind of wish Tails would have got some gadgets or whatever, and he would have put together the X-Tornado. It would really showcase how really smart Tails is, so I think it would have been smart if he created the X-Tornado, or if they didn't want to do that, Tails could, you know, hot wire a plane or something. And I will give them credit, at least the plane is red. At least it's reminiscent of the X-Tornado from, I don't know if it's called the X-Tornado in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I don't know. But at least the plane is red, I'll give them that. But at the end of the day, I wish he would have saved Sonic in a plane, like it showed us in the first trailer. But no, he did not save Sonic in a airplane. He saved him in a police car. So it was a terrible way. The best way would have been him being in a helicopter and just reminiscing of how much Tails flies the X-Tornado, and he likes to fly planes and all that all the time. Even in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, that's what Tails drives. He drives a plane. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it should have been a plane, not a cop car. Now my second problem with Tails' introduction, and it's the way how he says his name. No, I'm serious. It's Tails literally tells Sonic that his name is Tails. That bothered me in the trailer. I was like, wait a minute. I was gonna do my own live reaction to that, by the way, but I decided not to. But I was hoping it was gonna be fixed. Now, remembering, like I said, in the trailer, supposedly they were supposed to meet while Tails was flying the X-Tornado. But it turns out they really didn't meet like that. So I thought hopefully they would change Tails' dialogue from his name is Tails to my name is Miles Prower or Miles Tails Prower. But Tails never tells Sonic that. He just tells him that, oh, my name is Tails. And he's like, do you know why they call me Tails? And Sonic is like, let me guess, because you have 2 extra tails? Oh, yeah. But then I'm like, no, Tails, that's not how you introduce yourself. Your Tails' full name, for those who don't know, his full name is Miles Tails Prower. Now, his full name is just Miles Prower. He got the name Tails apparently in the comics, and this is even said in Sonic X, but even in the Archie comics, bullies picked on Tails and called him a two-tailed freak, and they called him Tails because of his, well, two tails. And Sonic just thought that was a nice nickname. He didn't really bully Sonic, he's bullied Tails. Sonic thought that was a cool name, and he said, yeah, I'll call you Tails for short. But my big problem is that Tails should have said his name is Miles Tails Prower, or just Miles Prower. He should have said his full name. Now, this isn't really spoilers or anything, but towards the end of the movie, Sonic actually does say Miles Tails Prower, and I'm like, wait a minute, so Sonic now knows his full name? It turns out somewhere, apparently off-screen, Tails did tell Sonic his full name, and I'm like, well, it doesn't help the fact in the beginning of the movie when they first met. I feel like Tails should have said, hey Sonic, nice to meet you, my name is Miles Prower, but you can call me Tails for short. I don't know, I felt like Tails should have said that. Don't just straight up and just say, oh, my name is Tails. Like, I was like, Tails, that's not your real name. That you gotta give him your real name. Your real name is Miles Prower. It's not Tails. But I'm not nitpicking, but those were just my two problems of the introduction to Tails. I think when Sonic and Tails first met, Tails should have been inside the X-Tornado saving Sonic from Knuckles and Eggman, and then he introduces himself saying his name is Miles Prower, but no, you can call me Tails. So Tails' introduction, I will admit, it was a bit bothersome. I still liked it overall, but him being in the X-Tornado and him giving his real name would have been a lot better. But other than that, I still thought his introduction was still pretty good. And like I said, Tails is a great character. He's lovable as always. So yeah, they did his character justice and I love it. Now let's talk about my boy Knuckles. Oh my god, Knuckles. Knuckles, well, I'm not gonna lie, he's almost the same way as Tails. The same way you know Knuckles from the video games, comics, and all that stuff. He's pretty much the same way he's the same way he is here. Knuckles, he's a hard ass, he's a badass. He can be, he had his tough and serious moments, but at the same time, he does have his silly moments. And believe me when I say Knuckles has his funny moments. It doesn't treat him like a dummy or a dumbass per se, but it's nice to see that Knuckles can have his little funny moments here once in a while, and it's pretty cool. Knuckles' voice actor also does a tremendous job. Knuckles' voice actor kind of reminds me of Knuckles' early voice actor from the Sonic Adventure games. It kind of felt like it was Knuckles' old voice actors from Sonic Adventure, but he has a deeper voice. But overall, Knuckles' voice actor did a great job. He was a great choice for Knuckles. He was great. I felt like he was Knuckles. You know how people say that Ben Schwartz can be the next voice of Sonic whenever Roger Craig Smith starts being Sonic? The guy who voiced Knuckles, I swear to God, he can be the next Knuckles in the next video games if they start replacing the voice actors again. He was great overall. Not too much to say about Knuckles' character. He's just, like I said, it's not too much to say. He's actually the same guy as you remember him as. And him being tricked by Dr. Eggman, of course that's reminiscing of Sonic Adventure, of course, how he tricked Knuckles and making him think that Sonic's the bad guy and all that. And then at the end of the day, he finds out Knuckles, that Eggman was really evil. Then he starts teaming up with Sonic. I'm serious. I was getting Sonic Adventure vibes. And since we're talking about Sonic Adventure, I won't spoil it. Again, I won't spoil anything. But let's just say that something happens to the Master Emerald, and Knuckles demonstrates that he can actually put the pieces of the Master Emeralds together. There's one moment where Knuckles squeezes all the pieces of the Master Emerald, and then once he squeezes all the pieces of the Master Emerald, it comes back, and the Master Emerald is just put back to pieces. Again, I think that's reminiscing of the Sonic Adventure games, how when Knuckles, of course, the Master Emerald gets scattered in the Sonic Adventure games, Knuckles will go out and collect the pieces. And then when he has all the pieces, he'll put them all together and they can go back to normal. When I saw that, I was like, okay, you guys are definitely referencing Sonic Adventure right there. It's nice how Knuckles had put it all together. Again, I'm not going to go into details of what happened, but it did showcase that Knuckles can put the pieces of the Master Emerald together and he can put it back. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I really can't think too much about Knuckles' character. He was great. He had enough screen time. I'm glad he was in here. But if there's one little problem, and I might talk more about this later, is that I felt like Knuckles should have been savored for the third movie. I mean, this is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 should have been Sonic and Tails stopping Dr. Eggman from, of course, taking over the world. Now, most of you may be thinking, well, who is Eggman supposed to team up with? Well, it's pretty simple. Because in the beginning of the movie, it shows that Eggman is, of course, still in Mushroom Hill. I think there's a different name for it, but I'm going to call it Mushroom Hill because it's definitely a reference to Mushroom Hill Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's definitely a reference. So, anyway, in the beginning of the movie, it still shows that Eggman is still experimenting, trying to get his way back into the human world. So, I think the movie should have let Eggman, like, come up with new ways to defeat Sonic, which he does, but I think he should have came up with the idea of coming up with, you know who, Metal Sonic. Yes, I think Metal Sonic should have been in this movie. After all, Metal Sonic, at least the beta-looking version of Metal Sonic, did make his appearance in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So I felt like Metal Sonic was in here. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 already has the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 elements. We have Tails in it, Eggman's in here, the Death Egg is in here. Give us Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic would have been perfect for this movie. That would have been good. And then Knuckles should have been secret for the third movie, much like how Knuckles made an appearance in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That's how this movie went. When I first saw Knuckles, I was happy, but I was mixed on it. I'm like, y'all couldn't just save Knuckles for the third movie. Metal Sonic just couldn't be in this movie. You already have Tails. You have the Death Egg. Where's Metal Sonic? Why wasn't he with Eggman in this movie? Eggman saw everything that Sonic could do in the first movie, so he should have used his intelligence and started creating Metal Sonic. Like, I was thinking, like, once Sonic and Tails destroy the Death Egg, I felt like his plan B should be, now I'm gonna reveal my secret weapon, and then that's when Metal Sonic appears. While I did enjoy Knuckles in this movie, I did, and like I said, there is an awesome, badass team-up between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. I loved it, but I felt like Knuckles should have been secret for the third movie. I felt like this movie should have been Sonic, Tails against Eggman and Metal Sonic. So, Metal Sonic is one of my favorite classic characters, and I really am upset that he did not appear in this movie. He should have been here instead of Knuckles. Overall, though, I still thought Knuckles' character was great. His voice actor was good. I loved everything about Knuckles. Overall, it was great. So, props to Knuckles' character. Now, since we're still talking about characters, I just want to say about Eggman's henchman. You know Eggman's side henchman, the guy who runs the calf and everything. He's in this movie, and I gotta say, he was kind of wasted a little bit. I don't know, he didn't really do too much. It's almost as if he was only there for comedy relief, and I felt like that was what it was. Now, granted, he is the reason of how Eggman got his new costume. He is the reason how Eggman knows where the Master Emerald is and all that stuff, and he helps in that sort. But that's about it, though. He doesn't really do too much. There's even a scene where where Eggman's assistant gets arrested by a cop, or at least interrogated by a cop, and not much happens. It's just there for comedy purposes. It doesn't go anywhere. The movie just literally pauses for like a good minute or two because this cop is interrogating Eggman's henchman. It didn't go nowhere. I felt like he didn't do anything. Yes, he gave Eggman the costume. Yes, he gave Eggman the location where the Master Emerald was. But after that, I think he should have been gone. Hell, not much of a spoiler or anything. But towards the end, when Eggman creates the Death Egg, he's even in the machine. And guess what? His assistant is in the machine, but he's not really doing anything. He's just sort of there. So, I don't know. There's also an ongoing joke where his assistant is really attracted to Eggman. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, he's really infatuated with Eggman, and it's really creepy at times. I don't know if they're trying to pull some kind of gay joke or something like that. I don't know, but whenever you see him, he's always thinking about Eggman. He's always talking about Eggman, and I'm like, I felt uncomfortable at times. I'm like, what is this movie trying to tell me? So, I don't know, it was just odd. It was just odd. I don't think he really needed to be in the movie too much, but they still kept him around. Whatever, he didn't bother me too much, but if you took him out of the movie, not much of a damn thing would change. After he went with him after Eggman went back to find out where where the Master Emerald was, because it is thanks to him why Eggman knew where the Master Emerald was. After that, I think he should be left alone, because everything else when he appears, it's just filler and just comedy relief. Well, comedy relief because I didn't really laugh as much. But his assistant, cool, but you could have done without him in this movie. Another thing that I didn't like about Sonic and Tails' Adventure is that, remember when I said that Sonic and Tails' Adventure, it is in this movie, but it's not as much compared to the first movie? There is one segment that I really hated, and again, this isn't particularly much of a spoiler, but I don't know, you know how it's in the trailer, Sonic and Tails go to this bar, and there is funny moments going on in that bar. It's kind of like reminiscing of the first movie where Sonic and James Marsden went to a bar and everything. Now, in the first movie, it's been a while since I've seen the first movie, but you know how something went wrong, and then there was this huge fight sequence in the bar with Sonic and James Marsden and all that, and it was pretty damn good. Sonic slows down time while everybody's fighting, and then all shenanigans and crazy stuff happens. It was good. I liked it. And Sonic in this movie, we kind of have the same thing, but instead of fighting in the bar, Sonic and Tails have this random, completely random, out of nowhere dance sequence. Yes, there is a random dance sequence going on in this movie, and when I saw that, I was like, no, why are we doing this? Granted, everyone in my theater, everyone was clapping and having a good time, and that's good, and you know, and I'm sure you who are watching this, I'm sure you enjoyed it too. But what bothered me is that this is supposed to be part of Sonic and Tails' adventure. Now, there is sort of a reasoning for it. Tails has never had fun before. He's never had fun with friends. He's always been nervous. He's never been this adventure kind of type person. So while they're dancing, Sonic pretty much motivates Tails, and he gets the courage to start learning to stand up for himself, and he starts dancing. Which, that's not a bad moral. It's cool, but why a dance sequence, though? I didn't like it. I didn't like any of the dance sequence. I was literally on my seat just putting my head like this, just watching it like, why are we having this dance sequence? It just bothered me. You can call me a killjoy, but I did not like the dance sequence. And I was like, oh my god. This is part of Sonic and Tails' adventure too. Oh my god. And this is where much of their time is being wasted on. I won't say what caused the dance sequence. I will say that's too much of a spoiler, too much. It's not a major spoiler, but I don't want to go too much in detail. But it's not like it's completely random. There's somewhat of a reason why they have the dance sequence. But compared to the first movie, I would rather much them have a brawl more so than a dance sequence. Now, there is one thing I do like about the dance sequence. And that is, when Sonic and Tails are dancing, Sonic is jumping in the air and he's doing poses. And one pose that's fucking obvious, when Sonic jumps in the air, he literally does. When Sonic is posing in the air while dancing, he does the Sonic Adventure pose. You know, you can't see my shirt, but he does the Sonic Adventure pose. He does that pose. Sonic does that pose while he's dancing and he's doing tricks and stunts, and he does that Sonic Adventure pose. I'll admit, I fangirl like a motherfucker when he did that. I'm on my seat, and then when he did that Sonic Adventure pose, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, that shocked me. I did not think he would see that. That pose that Sonic does, that shit is so iconic. I am such a huge fanboy when it comes to the first Sonic Adventure game. I have so much fond memories of it. And seeing Sonic doing that pose on the big screen, what the fuck? It was awesome, I will admit. I hate everything about that dance sequence. I hate everything. It's not necessary. But if there's 1% that I did love about it, it was that goddamn pose. Filmmakers, I will give you that. That pose was fucking amazing. I cannot believe y'all did that pose in the middle of a dance sequence. So, props to the pose. Didn't like the dance sequence, but that Sonic Adventure pose did get a point for me. But I will say, overall, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, this movie, it succeeds. And I will say, personally, in my opinion, it's way better than the first movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is everything that I imagined. It's Sonic and Tails teaming up on their adventure up against Dr. Eggman and Knuckles. There's so many references in this movie too, and so many Easter eggs. If you thought the first movie had a lot of Easter eggs and references, you haven't even seen this movie yet. Huge Sonic fans like myself, you're gonna be really shocked about how many references are in this, and you gotta spot them all. One of the references, believe it or not, is actually, I'm not gonna say how it happens, but believe it or not, a Sonic 06 reference is in this movie. And when I saw it, it's not really a blink if you see it, but it's a real blatantly obvious one. You're like, oh, did they really reference Sonic 06? But whatever. They reference almost every game if they possibly can. Trust me, they go real far about the video game references of Sonic. Not just the old Sonic, but even close to the modern Sonic games that came out back in the day. If they reference Sonic 06, then I guess you can guess what other games they can probably reference in this. Trust me, it's a lot going on in this movie. But like I said, the plot's not hard to understand. The plot's simple, thank God. Like I said, I'm glad they didn't squeeze in 20 different subplots or anything like that. No, it's simple as it is. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has a great story, great characters, great cast, great acting, great everything, great soundtrack. I can't get enough of it. And I know I keep saying this, but the final battle between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles against the Death Egg, That was the biggest highlight for me. I just loved just seeing those three of them team up. Speaking of which, I also think that was probably another reference to Sonic Heroes, because Sonic blatantly, he says it out loud. He says that Sonic, because he explains to Knuckles with Sonic's speed, Knuckles' power, and Tails' flight, they can win, which I think it's kind of reminiscing of Sonic Heroes, because in Sonic Heroes, there's a speed type, there's a power type, and there's a flight type. So when Sonic is saying that to Tails and Knuckles, I'm like, was that their way of referencing Sonic Heroes? I don't know. That could have been a reference to Sonic Heroes when Sonic said it that way. But yeah, my main point overall though, the final battle was great. Everything was awesome. This movie was the way I wanted it to be. If they could just maybe just tone down on the human characters just a bit more, then I would really say this movie was really amazing. But it was still good nonetheless. It was still fucking awesome. There are mixed reviews about people saying about the movie, and yes, it may have its a little ups and downs here and there, but it's still worth watching. This movie it's worth it. In fact, at the time I'm making this video, it's already way better than the first movie. It's been getting more sales than the first movie, and it blew up on its opening weekend. And right now, as this video is going, it's literally the #1 movie right now. It's literally the #1 movie, which I'm glad for that. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is everything I was hoping for. It's great, it's funny, references, it's just all amazing. And I'm just gonna stop it right here before I start repeating myself. But if you somehow haven't seen this movie, why the fuck are you watching my shitty ass review? Go fucking support Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This movie was indeed cool, and since I'm a Sonic fanboy, I'm gonna give it maybe 4 out of 5 stars. I usually don't give my ratings on these things, but 4 out of 5 stars. I gotta give it that. I give it 4 out of 5 stars, despite most of my complaining and all that. But they're just little nitpick complaints. This movie was still great, and I'm definitely gonna watch it again once it hits it on Blu-ray and DVD. I'm so watching it again. So yes, my recommendation, of course, you've seen the first movie, go see it. If you didn't like the first movie, then hopefully Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will change your mind. This is a movie worth watching over and over and over again, so I hope you guys check it out. So that was my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now I want to get into more of the problems I had with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just a little bit more of the problems. And yes, I have maybe 2, 3 problems with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but I couldn't talk about them in this section because it was going to lead to spoilers. Yeah, so especially that end credits. And for those who saw the end credits, I know you guys are like, you hated the end credit? Yes, I did. Don't worry. I'm going to explain why I did not like the end credit. So, this is the part of the review where it's going to get a little bit longer. So, right now, spoiler alert, I'm about to get into the spoilers of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If you don't want to get the spoilers, cut this fucking video off right now. This is a spoiler section. You have been warned. But anyway, but if you don't care, let's get into the spoilers, because oh my god. Even though I love this movie, after I talk about the spoilers, my opinion and everything is not going to change. It's still great. I still recommend the movie. I still give it 4 out of 5 stars. I still recommend it. Even when I'm about to talk about the negatives of the spoilers I didn't like. I still recommend it, and it's still a great movie. But it does make me kind of scared for the third movie, I will admit. And yes, they already greenlighted the third movie. Even before the movie even got released, they greenlighted a third movie. So, that's cool. And I was kind of curious, why was the 3 logo so red? I was like, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but it's red. It would make sense if Knuckles was appearing in the third movie, but Knuckles already made his appearance. But oh boy, that 3 turning red? There's a reason why it's red. But anyway, enough talk. Let's talk about the spoilers. Guys, go check out Sonic the Hedgehog 2 if you haven't seen it. But if you don't care about spoilers, then let's talk about it. In fact, I take it back. I was thinking about it, but you know what? Okay, there are 2 things I didn't like, and there was one other thing I did like. But of course, I couldn't talk about this in my other section because these 3 other things will lead into spoilers. So here we are. So let's talk about the one other thing I did like in this movie, and I'll talk about the other 2 that I didn't like. First of all, the other like I liked about this movie, and that is, of course, Super Sonic. Yes, Super Sonic actually makes an appearance in this movie, and Super Sonic Yeah, he looks badass. He looks great. He looks like how I would imagine him if he was in a live action movie. Supersonic is awesome and he's badass. And by the way, during my other section, this is actually where the Sonic 06 reference comes in. When Sonic becomes Supersonic, you know, he's so speedy, he's fast. Remember that episode in Sonic X where Sonic became Supersonic for the first time and he just massacred that entire Eggman robot just by spinning around and by killing it? I don't know if that was meant to be a Sonic X reference. I don't know, because just like in that episode of Sonic X, that's what Supersonic does to the Death Egg. He pretty much just spins around going super fast and he kills it instantly that fast. And after he does that, the Sonic 06 reference comes in. Sonic taps the robot with his foot. Yes, just like in that Sonic 06 trailer where Sonic taps the robot when it failed. I was like, did they really just reference Sonic 06 with that foot tap? I don't know. It could have been a coincidence, but my God, I think that was meant to be a Sonic 06 reference. But whatever, I liked it. It was a pretty good reference, though. It was a pretty good reference, though. So that was good. Again, it could have been intentional, but who knows? But Supersonic was also another thing I didn't like. At first, when I saw the movie, I was like, did they have to introduce Supersonic this early into the game? But then again, it does make sense because Sonic 2 is actually when Sonic did make his appearance, and I'm like, no, actually, this does make, no, it's good. I can go with the plot. Plus, it is pretty consistent with how Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is, where Super Sonic did make an appearance. So I was like, you know what, that's fine. I can let it slide, and I like it. So yeah, because the 7 Chaos Emeralds, you guys already know this because if you're in the spoiler section. But just in case for some of you who are in the spoiler section and you haven't seen the movie, so all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds were actually inside the Master Emerald. So they were all inside one emerald, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think that's never been done anywhere. I know that's never been done in the video game. I'm not sure if that's never been done in the comics, but that's a pretty cool way to put all the 7 Chaos Emeralds and Sonic became Supersonic. So yes, Supersonic was another thing that I did like in this movie. So it was great to see him. He looked great. He looked badass, and yeah, props to having Supersonic in this movie with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, just like the video game. So yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about 2 of the last things that I did not like in this movie. All right, number uno, the other thing I did not like in this movie. Of course, it leads to spoilers, so of course this is the spoiler section. And it had to do with Rachel's wedding. Rachel's wedding was also another thing that I did not like in this movie. It was a good starting point to get James Marsden and his wife to leave Sonic alone all by himself so he can have his own adventure with Tails and everything. So, I mean, for that point in the movie, I was like, okay, Rachel's wedding is consistent with the plot. So, you know, so Sonic can be alone by himself and he can have his adventure with Tails and whatnot. But then, towards the end of the movie, after Sonic and Tails have their after they went to the snowy mountain and James Marsden teleports Sonic and Tails to Rachel's wedding, that's when the movie focuses on the human characters a bit too much. You see, again, for some of you who still haven't seen the movie and you're just still in the spoiler section, it turns out that Rachel's wedding was all a scam. It was just meant to, the man who marries Rachel, he was under GUN. Yes, Gun is actually exists in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. It turns out that he was an undercover agent, so they can get closer to Sonic, so they can arrest him. Because since he's a alien life form or whatnot, they don't want his kind to be around them, so they're gonna lock him up. Especially considering that Eggman is dead, they no longer need Sonic, and they wanted to kidnap him and capture him. So it was a little bit confusing, and I still think it's still confusing because Sonic was even invited to the wedding, and I was like, how did they know that Sonic was gonna be there anyway? And the guy, he wasn't really in love with Rachel, he was only just forced to marry her. So I was wondering, well, what if the wedding did happen? I mean, Sonic and Tails just miraculously just came out of nowhere because they were in danger and they showed up. They didn't even know Sonic was gonna show up, so what was the plan here? Did they know Sonic was going to be invited? I mean, if they invited Sonic to the wedding, then okay, I can understand they were trying to booby trap him. But no, it doesn't make any sense. I never understood it. I never did. And the more times I thought about it, I was like, that didn't really make sense. Sonic didn't even attend the wedding, so how would that work anyway? But then it gets worse. When Sonic and Tails is captured, James Marsden's wife, who I remember her name was Rachel, they actually have to go in and save Sonic and Tails and James Marsden. Oh yeah, because James Marsden's character, he was also, his name is Tom, just now remember him. But James Marsden's character, Tom, he gets arrested too because he was trying to save Sonic, so he got in the way. So he got arrested alongside Sonic and Tails. And it's up to his wife and Rachel to get them out. But then it focuses too much on Rachel. Like, Rachel gets all upset because her wedding was a scam, it was a fake, and she gets mad at her husband. So of course, she goes and she gets her revenge. But the movie focuses on it way too much. if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan and you walked in during this scene when Rachel was trying to get her revenge to go get her husband, you will walk in and you'd be like, what the fuck am I watching? Am I watching a Sonic the Hedgehog movie? That's how confusing this scene was. I didn't feel like I was watching a Sonic movie. I felt like I was watching some bad drama romance movie. I was like, where's Sonic and where's Tails? But it's all about Rachel trying to get revenge on the man who she thought she was in love with. And it turns out the guy who was trying to pretend to marry her, it turns out that he accidentally fall in love with her, and then that's about it. After that, we don't know what happened to them afterwards, which, I mean, whatever, who cares? But, I mean, did they get married? Did they postpone the wedding again? I mean, what happened afterwards? Not that I care, but since they started the plot, I was kind of curious what happened. I'm like, I guess Rachel and him really did get married, but in the end, that was definitely the #1 worst scene in this entire movie. I hated that whole entire wedding scene. I'm like, this movie is not a Sonic movie at this point. It's literally just, it's the biggest filler, more so than the scene with Sonic and Tails are dancing. Yes, I hate that dance sequence personally, but at least Sonic is present in that scene. At least the movie is focusing on Sonic. Here, it's all about Rachel trying to get back at this guy who lied about the wedding. It goes on for like a good 2 to 3 minutes. This is the biggest filler in the entire fucking movie. I hated it. I hated this fucking scene. I hated it. So whenever I rewatch Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I'm going to fast forward this shit. It does nothing with the plot. It's just there just to be there, as if they really needed to add it. They're like, we need to add on that runtime. Oh, let's add in that fucking filler with Rachel trying to get back at her husband. We don't care about these human characters, especially when it comes to this Richard. No offense to the actress or anybody else. They were all great, I will admit. But this is a fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I don't care about them. I care about Sonic, Tails, and I care about partially with James Marsden's character and his wife. But that's only because we've been around them much longer. So I can get more connected with James Marsden and his wife because we've been around them much longer. But Rachel and this new guy who we just met in this movie, we don't know them as much, so I don't care. So yeah, the whole wedding sequence, it was filler. I don't think it was necessary. In fact, no, I take it back. It wasn't necessary. I didn't like it, so we didn't need that scene. But okay, enough with that. Rachel scene, definitely the worst scene in the entire movie. But let's get to the second and the last thing that I did not like about this movie. And now, the finale. The last thing that I did not like about this movie, and that is the end credit sequence. Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. I know what you guys are gonna say. You hated the end title sequence? I'm sorry, I did not like it. Now, again, if you haven't seen the movie, and you're still somehow at this point of the video and you haven't seen the movie, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it turns out after the end credits, there is a post-credit scene, as almost every other movie. Just like the last movie, we saw Tails who appeared. Well, we get introduced to yet another Sonic character. Now, remember when I said there's a reason why the logo was red in Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Oh yeah, there's a reason for that, and here's the reason. It turns out that Gunn, you know where this is going, turns out Gunn has found a file that was kept secret 50 years ago. 50 years ago. That's right, and then we get a cutscene of, you know who, we have Shadow the Hedgehog making his appearance for the first time. And I'm not gonna lie, everyone lost their shit. Everyone lost their shit. I've seen everyone's reactions, and everyone lost it. Even in my theater, everyone went nuts when they saw Shadow the Hedgehog make an appearance. I might be the first to say that I wasn't really happy about this review. Okay, so let me explain myself. I think it was way too early to introduce Shadow the Hedgehog. You see, one of the reasons why I love the first movie and even this movie is that they took their time with the characters. Like, each character was given their moment to shine. In the first movie, we had Sonic, no one else. The first movie didn't try to squeeze in Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big the Cat, or Shadow, or whoever. It didn't squeeze all his friends in one movie. No, it was just Sonic being on his own, the only Sonic character, him himself. And him and Eggman, I mean. They were the only two. They were the only two characters who were introduced. But anthropomorphic-wise, it was just Sonic. It was just Sonic. And I love the first movie for that. Granted, again, I know I say this a lot. I would have loved it a lot more if it was just him alone and not teaming up with some human character. But whatever. Anthropomorphic character-wise, it was Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I was happy to see Tails. I'm like, of course, because he was in the post-credit scene in the last movie. So, or obviously, he was going to be a character in the second movie. Now, I can't recall if I said this in my review. I'm stupid, so I can't remember. But when Knuckles was revealed, I'm not going to lie, I didn't like that they were introducing Knuckles in this movie because, like I said earlier, which I do remember, the movie should have introduced Sonic, Tails, and Metal Sonic because this is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and as I repeat myself, but Metal Sonic should have been Eggman's second partner, not Knuckles. Knuckles should have been saved for the third fucking movie. Because let me say this right now: if I was the director of these Sonic movies, the first movie would have been Sonic on his own, trying to gather his rings all by himself, trying to get to his rings. But of course, he has to get out of the way of Dr. Eggman. If I directed the second Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I will let it be more focused with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic, Tails, Eggman, and Metal Sonic. Which Metal Sonic? I guess I'll go with the not the OG Metal Sonic, but the blue Metal Sonic that we all know. I want to go with the gray one, but the Metal Sonic, the blue one, I would go with that one. And then when it came to the third movie, that's when I will start introducing Knuckles, the Master Emerald Shrine, the Chaos Emeralds, and that's when I start doing that. Then, if you want to jump into Sonic Adventure territory, then Sonic the Hedgehog 4, you can introduce, that's where you introduce Amy, Big the Cat, and Gamma. I'll say you can introduce those mini characters. Then in Sonic the Hedgehog 5, you can then start introducing, the Chows, Chaos, and then Tikal, and then, it's taking baby steps with some of these characters. Then after Sonic the Hedgehog 5, then Sonic the Hedgehog 6, I think that's where you should have introduced Shadow. I don't think you should be introducing all these characters that fast, because now with Sonic the Hedgehog 3, there's going to be a lot of shit going on. If you know Shadow's character, there's going to be a ton of shit squeezing in one. First of all, we're going to have to be introduced to Rouge, because don't forget, she's meant to be an okay, hold on. Before I even continue, yes, I know what you guys are going to say in the comment section. Well, Sonic the Hedgehog, even though it's taking the characters from the games, that doesn't mean it's really consistent with their backstory. Which is true. Sonic's backstory is changed. Tails' backstory is slightly changed. Knuckles' Echidna backstory is a little different. And I can understand they're not going to be that consistent with the characters, but I don't know, it kind of makes me wonder what they're going to do with Shadow. But when it comes to Shadow, you have to talk about him in the Space Colony arc and everything. Because they said 50 years ago, so I'm like, oh wait, so we're definitely going to bring in a lot of shit from Sonic Adventure 2. But like I said, if you're going to do this whole Sonic Adventure 2 thing, that means we're going to be introduced to Rouge, which I'm sure she might be revealed in the third movie too. Because don't forget, she's an undercover spy who works for Gunn, and she goes in to investigate to find out more about Project Shadow. So I'm like, are you guys also going to introduce Rouge into this whole mix too in the next Sonic movie? Not only that, they have to include the Space Colony arc. There's Dr. Gerald Robotnik, of course. There's Maria, of course. And then to top things off, there's also the Bio Lizard, who was actually the first ultimate life form before Shadow. I don't know how you can do that, but not without introducing the Bio Lizard, because the Bio Lizard is important. The Bio Lizard is like technically Shadow's brother, because Dr. Gerald Robotnik built the Bio Lizard before he built Shadow. So I'm like, that's a lot of shit to go on in the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and I didn't like that they're introducing this concept so long. And if, maybe, and this is a big maybe, what if, I'm not saying they are, this is just mere speculation, but what if they introduce the Black Arms? What if they do that? Regardless what you think of it, somewhat in a way, Black Doom is actually part of Shadow. So I'm not gonna go into the whole thing because I played the game, but I know you guys are like, are you going a bit overboard with the whole thing? I don't know. Maybe I am. But oh my god, there's a lot of shit to go on with Shadow's character. Now, I'm sure they're not going to include the Black Arms. I'm sure I'm going to call bullshit. I'm exaggerating. But everything else I said, like Rouge, the Space Colony art, Gerald Robotnik, Maria, the Bio Lizard, that's a lot of shit to put inside Shadow's character. So when they say they found a file that was 50 years ago, they were already saying that this incident was 50 years ago. I'm like, oh, we're already going. I knew his Shadow was going to appear eventually. I'm not going to act like, oh, I was shocked. If anything, everybody in the theater was jumping and they were like, yay, Shadow! Shadow's in the next movie! But I'm here just like, why? I knew Shadow was going to make an appearance. He's a fan favorite. When it comes to Sonic's best rival, he is a fan favorite. In fact, when I was a kid, not to give you a backstory or anything, but when I was a kid, like many other Sonic fans, when Shadow died at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, I burst into tears. I couldn't believe that Shadow was gone. They just introduced this guy and he died. Now, for most of you who don't know, and I'm assuming there's only 2 of you who didn't know this, but in Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow was a one character thing. Ujinaka and them, they never intended to use Shadow in future Sonic games, which is why he was killed off in the end of Sonic Adventure 2. But they got a lot of backlashes from fans like myself, because I remember even when I was a kid back in the day, message leaderboards and all that stuff. I remember that I actually emailed Sega in one way, telling them that I didn't like how they killed off Shadow. I was so upset. I was actually one of those Sonic fans who will always email Sega about something, and I am no exception. And I messaged them and I was like, you killed off a likable character. I cannot believe you killed off Shadow. So fans are the reason why Shadow like randomly appeared out of nowhere in Sonic Heroes, and why he had his shitty, awful, but likable Shadow the Hedgehog. So yes, I do love Shadow. I love the character. He is amazing. I do love Shadow. So before anyone says, "Oh, you don't like Shadow," you don't know how big of an awesome character this guy is. Trust me, I know. I love Shadow the Hedgehog. He's awesome. I knew he was going to make an appearance in the movie, and I knew he was going to make an appearance eventually. But god damn, I did not think he was going to appear in the movie this fast. It's like the first movie, to the director, the first movie was Sonic the Hedgehog. Then it became Sonic the Hedgehog 2, mixed with Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And now Sonic Adventure 3 is just, oh, Sonic Adventure 3. And now Sonic the Hedgehog movie 3 is like, oh, now it's Sonic Adventure 2. How'd you went from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and then we're immediately in Sonic the Hedgehog, how'd you go from Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles into Sonic Adventure 2 territory? I don't know. I'm a little mixed. No, I could be exaggerating and stuff. Now, when the third movie comes out, maybe in 2024, 25, who knows? I might, when I do my next review of Sonic the Hedgehog movie 3, I might be like, oh guys, Sonic the Hedgehog movie 3 was awesome. I actually liked it. Who knows? I might be like that, and I might be contradicting myself. But I don't know. For now, at least until the movie comes out, I'm a little skeptical on the whole thing. It's like one part of me is happy Shadow's gonna be in the third movie, but the other part of me is like, fuck, you could have saved him way later. I understand he's a fan rival. Also, riddle me this: how the fuck did Shadow make an appearance before Metal Sonic? How? Why? How did Shadow make an appearance before Metal Sonic? Now, I heard other speculations that maybe Metal Sonic can actually team up with Shadow and go up against Sonic and stop him. And yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind that. I mean, that'd be cool too. But I still would have liked if Metal Sonic took his time in this movie first. But whatever. But if Metal Sonic is actually in the second movie, he ends up helping Shadow. I mean, okay, that's one thing. I guess that's something to be exciting for. But yeah, that was my big dislike. Not that I don't like Shadow, I just think he was way too early in introducing this movie. Maybe in the fourth, maybe the fifth movie you can introduce Shadow, but now I think it was way too fast. It jumped into Sonic Adventure 2 territory so fast. I was like, damn. But okay, whatever. But yeah, that's Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2. Overall, like I said, just because the big hates I got for it, I still like the movie. Oh. One last thing hit my mind before I end this video. One little other nitpick I didn't like about Shadow when he was teased was his eyes. His eyes had those evil looking eyes going on with him with Shadow the Hedgehog. But Shadow in this movie, he had the same round eyes as Sonic. He didn't look that evil. Don't forget, Shadow is meant to be like Sonic's doppelganger, almost like Metal Sonic. Shadow is like the other half of Sonic in a way. So he's like, a darker version of himself. And Shadow's supposed to have that mean look, that mean look. In the movie, he didn't have that. He had like normal straight eyes like Sonic. Knuckles in the movie, he had those same anger eyes. But Shadow, he doesn't. I'm like, is this guy meant to be Shadow? Or is this someone impersonating Shadow? I don't know. I didn't like his eyes, so I can already tell you what I don't like about him so far. Oh my god, Chaos Control and Chaos Blast and all that. See, this is what I mean by all this shit being put in the third movie. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. This is personally my opinion. Everybody else is excited for it, which is good. I'm happy for you guys. So, yeah, this video is going to be long enough as it is because I know the video is going to be long. Holy shit. So, I'm going to end it right here before I repeat myself. Overall, yes, I'm a little sketchy with the ending of the end credit scene Shadow, but we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if they can make it good. Hopefully, they don't squeeze in 20 other 100 subplots going on in this third Sonic movie. But whatever. Overall, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is still a great movie. Like I said, my rating hasn't changed. I still give it a 4 to 5 stars. It is amazing. It's great. I still recommend it. Like I said, the movie is still doing well. It's actually the #1 movie right now, and I hope people will go and support this movie. Go support Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Don't let my dumb ass stop you from going to see from all the dislikes I said. Despite the dislikes, you know, there are going to be some things you're going to like and some things you're not going to like. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was a fun ride. I did love it as the fanboy I am. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was awesome. Support Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Go see it. If you saw it, see it again. Keep seeing it. It's a great movie, and I'm glad I saw it. And I can't lie, despite my nitpicks and stuff, I can't wait until the third movie comes out. I cannot wait until the third movie comes out. So yeah, I'm gonna end it right here, guys. Thanks for watching. Man, this is gonna be a lot to edit, but yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2, go see it. It's a great movie, and yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay, well, you guys take care. Thanks for watching my shitty ass review, and take care. I'll see you guys later.